Welcome to No Spoilers, the only anime podcast that really means it when we say that we are going to record new episodes. I'm John.
I'm Andrew.
And welcome. Thanks for tuning in today. We've got a lot to talk about.
Thank you. Thank you who's ever still here after however many months. I think on I haven't changed it, but I secretly modified the anchor details to say that it wasn't a weekly podcast, but I think on Twitter it still says a weekly podcast. And I think it's been about a month or two.
It hasn't been a month or two since the last episode. It's been about a month since the last episode, that's for sure.
Well, since we recorded, how long has it been since we recorded?
It's been quite some time.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Actually, 2 months exactly, I think. We were recording this on August 17th.
Oh, it is?
August 17th.
Don't do this to me.
All right. We do have a lot to talk about. This is the promised episode, though. For us, it's been a very long time since we said this, but we said the next episode would be about Sword Art Online, Season 1.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what this is. We will be getting
This is the vault.
Yeah, this is the first episode of opening the vault. Watching I don't know. There aren't really rules yet for the vault, as you might imagine.
Yeah, we haven't really decided.
We'll call it an older anime. We don't know when to.
I don't know, it could be. I think it could be older anime. It can be iconic anime, staples of the
but
genre.
Like we can't do like Megalobox, which came out like 2 years ago.
Yeah, no bigger staple to the isekai genre than Sword Art Online.
Oh yeah.
Do we want to give a little?
No, people know what Sword Art Online.
People know what it is.
You guys know what it is.
We don't need to. Here. In 10 words or less, summarize Sword Art Online.
10 words or that's
10
not
words
a lot.
or less. 10 words or less.
A boy gets trapped in a video game 1 word or 2 words?
1 word.
Video game tries not to die. That's 11 words.
A boy gets trapped in a video game and
there's not a lot of room with 10. This is a
bags
bad bit.
Bitches.
True, honestly.
Which we will talk about. We will talk about that.
That is a better explanation.
As a detriment to the series, the harem aspect.
That was actually
of
good.
Sword Art Online.
I like that.
Why don't we start with
let's just go over
our first bit, which is what we've been watching, and then we can kind of get into the main topic. John, why don't you go through what you've been watching?
Yeah.
And then I'll hit my list of what I've watched in the past month.
We have a sort of outline document that we're kind of going through for these episodes, and every week Andrew fills out a lot of stuff that he's been watching or what he wants to talk about, and mine is like completely bare. Like mine is just, it says John and then a bullet point. It's just a
one bullet point.
It's just a bullet point. Nothing's after the bullet point. Andrew has 5, 10, 12 different things that he wants to talk about. But I've just been watching Doro Hey Doro. I don't know if it's Doro Hey Doro, Doro He Doro. I don't know how they pronounce that. It's a Netflix exclusive, Netflix original anime. The quick explanation would be, I've tried explaining this to one of our other friends, and I couldn't really figure out where to start. So, in a world where I shouldn't say regular, in almost like a post-apocalyptic world where quote-unquote regular human society exists.
Right, okay.
There also exists another world filled with sorcerers.
Okay.
And these sorcerers will go to the human world, which is called the Whole.
Got it.
And they will practice sorcery on humans, often transmuting them into animals and bugs and stuff like that. And the main character
that's unique.
Had his head transformed into the head of a lizard. He's a massive man, probably 7 feet tall.
I did see that in the art.
And he's trying to get his head changed back to normal, basically. It's a really good show. It's such a shame that it's on Netflix, and like nobody who's like thinking of anime or thinking I want to watch anime, like nobody's thinking of Netflix, for better or worse. It has like that 3-dimensional CG animation, this type of stuff you would see in like Ruby. But right. I would say it looks a lot better than what I've seen of Ruby. And it's funny. It's really funny. Like the comedic timing of this show is very good. It's kind of, I don't want to say psychedelic, but it has this like really, it has this sort of holy mountain thing going on where you'll be watching it and something kind of ridiculous or bombastic will happen, and they won't like let you like ruminate on that. It just they'll go directly into the other thing. Like I can't think of a good one though without spoilers. It's really high tempo show, funny, has lighthearted moments. Oddly enough, has a lot of like very hot. Well, first off, the fight scenes look sick. The 3D fight scenes actually look really good. It's like very graphic as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
how's it hold up overall besides the fight scenes with the 3D animation?
Well, it looks good. I think it really looks good. Like I haven't really seen a lot of like 3D animation shows where I'm like that looks good, but I would say this has like a lot of scenes where it's like wow, this looks really good. And it has some of like the highest budget food animation I've ever seen. They love to show these like gyoza, and they look really good every time. And the opening is like it's just one of the main characters like cooking. It's very funny. I'll give like a really quick pitch because I don't have a lot to talk about in terms of anime. So one of the episodes, the main two characters, the man with the lizard head named Kaimon, and his like not exactly girlfriend, the girl that he's like best friends with. I forget what her name. They go. The woman has heard about a sorcerer who is an acupuncturist.
Okay.
Who practices outside of a nightclub, like inside of a nightclub, but in a nightclub, who says that he can like reverse the magic that has transmuted people. So like Kaimon thinks maybe he can turn his head back to normal. So they travel from the hole to the city, and they're like, let's like everything is just dog shit, right? Like the living conditions of these people, absolute dog shit. And they're like, well, let's stay at a hotel. And I'm like, they have hotels in this world? And like they go and there's like a man who's like, you two get tent 7, and they're staying in like a tent city.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, let's go get some food, right? Or the woman's like, I'll go make some food, right? She goes to like a pawn shop. Like, did you see Star Wars Episode 7?
Yeah.
You know when Rey is getting food, like she's trading in like scrap, and there's the guy behind the like the cage. Same exact thing. He gives her some food, and some like homeless people that she saw on the way have come to like rob her, and they have spears, and she like quickly like kicks one in the face so hard that his eyeball flies out. And she stomps on his eyeball, and the guy's like, my eye! She just destroyed my eye! And then another one, she disarms the guy of his spear, and then like cuts a cut that takes like 30% of the top of his skull off, like a sideways cut, and it falls off like a piece of meat.
Oh, like it slides
like a
off
steak.
like a slice.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And I was like, damn, they really went off for like not a lot. And the characters are cool. It's a good show. I recommend it. I'm like 8 episodes in, I think. I think there's only 12 in the season. Besides that, I've just been watching The Sopranos since we last started. I, like many young men in their 20s, have been watching The Sopranos. We don't need to talk about it. It's a good show.
It is a good show.
And just yesterday, I watched the whole first season of Twin Peaks, whole thing, start to finish.
Nice. Good. You're about where I am.
It's also good. What did you watch?
All right.
I'm glad you asked.
I'm gonna be pretty brief because I watched a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I watched No Game No Life.
Yeah, you've watched that for the first time.
Yeah, I watched it. I gotta say, you guys said that I would really enjoy it. I thought it was okay. I think there are bits in it that are really inspired and really creative. Like I really liked the one of the first major games they played. What was it called? Materialization. Yeah. I don't know the Japanese word. But essentially they had to say a word based on the last letter of the previous word that was said, and it couldn't be a repeat word and it had to be a real word. I thought that was a really, like, that scene out of all the stuff in the show stuck with me the most. I think I liked that.
Yeah.
But overall, I think, yeah, it was about a 7. It wasn't great, and it wasn't awful. So seems to be about par for the course these days.
Probably the best show that features incestuous kissing.
True. Aside from that, I watched Fire Force.
Yeah.
Well, I'm watching Fire Force, I should say.
Is it still coming out with episodes?
Yeah, season 2 is, or season 3, season 2? Season 2, I think, is coming out with
Fake
episodes.
fan.
It's good. It's a good show. There's a really good element of mystery, which is always good.
Yeah.
I really want to stick with it and see how it wraps up. The Misfit of Demon King Academy, I started watching that.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why it's one of the most popular shows, if not the most popular show currently on Crunchyroll, because it does every cliche and basic thing right with like a little extra. It's pretty much exactly what you would expect based on the title, right? The Misfit of Demon King Academy.
Yeah.
The guy is overpowered. He never loses. He's always getting
a lot of women.
Underestimated. A lot of women, harem, all that. It's okay. I think there are bits of it that are very funny. Aside from that, nothing groundbreaking. I started watching the Fruits Basket remake, the 2019 Fruits Basket remake. They did season 1, season 2. They're coming out with right now. It's great. Fruits Basket might be one of my all-time favorite stories, and I think I've said this before. I don't know, something about it. It was one of my first manga that I read completely, and I think I also watched the original anime, but the original anime didn't. They made some changes and they didn't end where the manga did. So this new remake is going to be completely faithful to the manga, and I think they're going to do another season, one more season, and then one core of like 13, something like that. But yeah, it's really good. Then as far as the other shows I started, I watched the Ancient Magus Bride.
Yeah.
The Ancient Magus's Bride.
Did you finish
that
it?
was no, I haven't finished it yet.
Okay.
That's very it's got that it factor, right?
Yeah, the
it's
animation
got that,
looks really good.
It is. It's very movie like.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's very I haven't seen anything like this, I think, in a long time. Probably the closest I can think of is like I don't know, Negima, the wizard kid show, and like only even parts of that, like the magical elements of that. It's very unique, I think. It's a very good show. And it's like a romance drama supernatural, I think is what it is. It's great. It's really good. I can't wait to finish to see how it ends up.
Mm-hmm.
Then I watched Sword Art, the new season of Underworld Part 2, War of Underworld Part 2, or wherever. It's bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we've talked about this before. There's a scene where one of the characters gets molested in pretty much every season of Sword Art Online. I think there might be one in every single season, except for maybe the first 14 episodes, which is what we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is one in every single season, aside from the side stories.
It's insane.
And of course, the first episode of War of Underworld Part 2, it's out of pocket. It's like a 5-minute scene where they fucking molest, what's her name? Lifa? The Kirito's sister? She's coming into the world and like some other spoilers for don't watch this. It's fucking awful. I can't explain it. It's like, is it like the producer? Is it Reki Kawahara? Is like who is like
excuse me, sir. I think this seems to be a great season, but I seem to notice you're missing a key component. No.
It's really like
not
that.
Again.
It's really like that. It's honestly, it feels like that. It feels like they're contractually obligated to put in a rape scene. It's fucking bizarre.
You know what? There was no rape scene in SAO's best arc.
What, the
Mother's Rosario.
I don't consider that an arc. That's a side story. That's probably the best story.
That's an arc.
It's probably the best story too. And thank God, if there was one in that, could you imagine? Oh no. Then I watched Classroom of the Elite. Classroom of the Elite is terrible. It is probably one of the worst shows I've seen ever.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't stop watching it. It was the most mesmerizing train wreck of a show I have ever seen. It's so bad. It's so bad that you cannot look away. It's like, what are they going to do next? Oh, they did that next. And there's like, the thing about it too, in the first couple episodes, there are some elements that you're like, okay, that's kind of interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the main character is somehow like a martial arts expert. That's never explained.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just a thing that comes up one episode for about 10 seconds. It's like, that's interesting. Give me more of that. But it's terrible. It's an awful show. I can't recommend it. But if you want to watch something bad, You should watch Classroom the Elite. And then I think finally I want to wrap this up with, obviously I'm watching Snafu Season 3, ReZero Season 2. Those are both going great. I love both of those so far. Me, Guy, and Leslie are actually watching Snafu. We're loving it. We're speculating. It's so good. I really recommend Snafu to anybody. I'll do that every single episode. I'll always recommend Snafu. John, you'll probably never watch it.
Nope.
But you really should. It's great. Season 1, I don't think you'll like. Season 2 and 3, I think you'll probably like.
What is the what words come before snafu?
My teen romantic comedy Snafu.
Oh, my teen romantic comedy.
Yes, I know you don't like rom-coms. This one's really more of a romance drama.
No thanks.
And finally, the cherry on top.
Mm-hmm.
Probably my favorite anime of this year.
Really?
That I've watched. It was a surprise to me. I've seen it. I've seen the cover art. I've been a little like hesitant. I'm like, I don't know. This cover art looks kind of weird. Like, I don't know what's going on. And, classic, judge a book by its cover. Bunny Girl Senpai. Bunny Girl Senpai was...
Put that in.
Okay. Bunny Girl Senpai... I can't even, I need to...
First off, shout out to the Peggies. We love the Peggies.
Shout out to the Peggies. Yeah, Peggies, if you're listening to this, we'd love
Peggies
to have you on the podcast. Good. They are one of the greats.
Shout out to whoever did the ending, too. The ending is also really good. The ending is good. Listen, the ending is actually what got all of you guys into Bunny Girl Senpai, because I remember, again, the anime Godfather, Mother's Basement. I remember when Bunny Girl Senpai came out, he said, this show's actually good. And I'm like, that can't be right. But I remember thinking, he said it's good, might be good. And then I downloaded the ending on Osu and played it. And Guy heard it. He said this is a banger, which it is. And it got him to watch the show. So
yeah, Guy saw it. Guy saw it way before me. Leslie actually saw it too.
Shout out, especially whoever did the ending. We don't know who you are. Sorry.
It's everything that I want in a show. And the more I think about it, the more I just want more of this type of show. Mm-hmm. Especially because, obviously I love rom-coms or romance dramas, that kind of thing. So this is going to be minor spoilers for Bunny Girl Senpai. This is only the first couple episodes, but it is kind of integral to the story. So if you don't want to hear that, I really recommend watching Bunny Girl Senpai right now. Just stop the podcast, go watch it. It's 12 episodes. You can knock it out in a day. And I'm not going to really spoil anything for you, John, but
that's fine.
It has, obviously, a romance element.
Yep.
Where you see in most anime, the romance is really what carries the show to the end.
Mm-hmm. I have to know this. Is the main character actually named Rascal?
No. No.
That would have been sick.
It has nothing to do with Rascals and nothing to do with Bunny. Well, okay, it has very tiny amount to do with Bunny Girls. But it is one of those shows where, so you see this all the time, right? You see the romance is what people are staying for. That's what they're staying until the last episode to see if the main character and the love interest get together. This show, a little bit different. The main character and the love interest start off early, and then you're at episode 3, and you're like, wait, is it over? Did I just watch the entire show? But then that you have them together for the rest of the show, and you're dealing with other stuff alongside their relationship, which is kind of put on the back burner, but it's still a major part of the show, and it's like, why can't more shows do this? Why don't they trust the audience enough to, you get the relationship, it's there, and then you move forward with that? I'm so tired of shows that are that save it to the end. Sometimes they do it great, sure, but just give me more shows where the main character and love interest get together, and then you have 10 more episodes with them together, and you can enjoy that. You have two characters you really like together for 10 more episodes. It's really great. And there's a supernatural element, so of course, it's great. And then to wrap everything up, I'll just mention that I watched Tenki no Ko, Weathering with You, and we will talk about that in another episode. But stay tuned, that's coming. Now we can get into the main discussion topic, episodes 1 through 14 of Sword Art Online Season 1. I know Season 1 encompasses episodes 1 through, 25, I think? That is Season 1. Season 1 is 1 through 25, but for all intents and purposes, we're going to count Season 1 as episodes 1 through 14 when Kirito is in Sword Art Online.
When the show should have ended.
I don't know if the show should have ended. We'll get to that, but...
Oh, it shouldn't have ended, but I'll put it this way. If you could end SAO with episode 14, was it? Maybe do one more episode, right? If you end it there...
They kind of did, honestly. Episode 15 is kind of that.
All I'm saying is, the rest, everything that came after, only serves to make it worse. With the exception, of course, of Mother's Rosario. Which, while not... I wouldn't say Mother's Rosario is great. It's
Mother's Rosario,
it's definitely better than
it's
the
very
rest
good.
Of SAO.
I'll try to keep this entirely to season 1 because there's bits in the other seasons that can relate to this, but
you literally just spoiled the most recent season of the franchise.
Oh yeah, true, I did. No, yeah, I can't sanction the tomfoolery going on in the newest season. It's so fucking dumb and bad. I'll put a spoiler warning in front of it just in case, but good lord. Let's get into episode 1. Episode 1 is The World of Swords. It's the introduction to Sword Art Online.
Title for the first episode, by the way.
Okay, fine. I don't care about episode titles. Whatever you think of the title. I think it's a great first episode. I think it's probably...
I don't think it's a great first episode.
It might be maybe in the top 3, top 5 episodes of the first season. I mean, of the 14 episodes that there are, I think it's one of the better episodes.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably is in the top 3. Certainly in the top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's... I guess I should get this out of the way real quick. SAO is obviously very impactful in terms of its contribution to isekai and anime on the whole. There's a lot of stuff.
Wait, we should real quick.
What?
Isekai is when the character is transported to another world.
Yeah, the isekai genre. Those are your ReZeros. Those are your...
Right. ReZero's very good.
What's Slime's title? Like, I accidentally was reincarnated as a slime or something like that. Those are
new episodes coming out in the fall.
Huh?
New episodes in the fall.
Yeah,
Slime.
I mean, I still haven't finished. Once the Hogwarts subplot happened, I was like, okay, I'm gonna turn this off.
That's literally like the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of genre defining for isekai, I would say. First off, it's the reason why we have so many isekai, right?
Yeah.
SAO's success is what spawned so many isekai. Like, one of the things that I think is interesting and maybe overlooked about SAO is you have kind of psychological horror anime before this. Most notably, probably Monster and Mirai Nikki, in terms of probably the show that gets it done best and the most popular show that does it. But SAO, I mean, what really hooked me in when I first watched it, and this was I think we've talked about it in one of the previous episodes. This was one of my like first anime that I was watching. Definitely like one of the first ones that I watched from like, you know, the 2010s on. Was the kind of psychological horror of the situation. At this point, I would say the premise is almost like it might not get okayed. Not just because it's so similar to SAO, but like I feel like isekai, they have the stakes a lot higher than just being stuck in a video game now. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
but
watch ReZero. Yeah, that's
the kind of fear that I felt knowing, especially after episode 3. I mean, we'll get to that, but when his like party dies, I was like, I remember like being really shook up about it. I was like, wow, I felt like that felt heavy, right?
Yeah. And I feel like, I really feel like Kirito should be way more fucked up than he is. Maybe. I get that, like, he's got Asuna, he's got some friends, right? But like, a lot of shit happened to him. I know I would be fucked up for life.
Yeah, SAO doesn't really want to kind of get into the real psychological effects of stuff like that as a show. They're kind of just happy having Kirito as the character that he is, rather than kind of really expand him and tease out interesting things, I guess, out of his character, which is, you know, neither here nor there. But yeah, I can't really understate even the first episode, right? One of my favorite things of the first episode when I first saw it was when the kind of floor drops out beneath Kayaba at like the main square, and he explains that when you die in the game, you die in real life. When that scene happened, I was like, oh wow, like this is a really cool premise, and it's definitely not something you would see outside of anime, which I think is something that really SAO for a lot of people was one of their gateway animes, right?
Yeah, definitely for me it was a big gateway anime.
like I said, Isekai has kind of moved on, expanded past what SAO
Gotten
has
better.
done. Yeah. And so
Gotten more in depth, I
rewatching the
think.
first episode, it feels like it's kind of not enough. It doesn't really do as much. Although, like I
Yeah.
said, the simplicity, what it
It's
does, it
pretty.
does
It's pretty
right.
simple.
That's
It's
for
yeah.
sure.
It's simple enough, but it gets the point across. It gets you into the world. It breaks down the basics of what's going on. I mean, it's pretty much all you could really want from a decent first episode, decent pilot. People are introduced to this terrifying reality that they're not getting out unless they beat the game. Is that all
Agreed.
your thoughts on episode 1?
I think so.
Klein. We introduced Klein in the first episode. Kirito has a buddy, but then he leaves him for whatever reason. I don't know. He's sad or something. I don't fucking know. Because he's a beater, which is the title of episode 2, Beta, because he's a beta tester and a cheater, because they're clever like that. Episode 2, they kind of all go to the first floor boss, and they fight the first floor boss.
Yeah.
And Kirito is like he knows the moves because he's a beta tester, and when the boss like busts out this new weapon that wasn't in the beta test and kills the leader guy. But like that whole scene to me is really weird. I still don't fully like. I get that the guy was kind of like a one shot, right? But why does he like? He's like, no, Kirito, don't give me the health potion to potentially save my life. Let me die. Why is he like that? Why does he not?
Yeah, it was kind of dumb.
I don't know. The health potion probably wouldn't have saved him, but there's just the whole scene's really weird. Apparently that was anime only though, so I don't even know why it's necessary to be in there. I guess to help reveal that Kirito's a beta tester. I don't know. I think the whole idea also is really fucking dumb. It's like, okay, he was a beta tester. Some things have changed. Have you never played a game before? Like, come on. Episode 2 is like, eh.
Here's the thing. Episode 2 made me think of two really interesting ways that SAO could have gone. Maybe only one way SAO could have gone, but one thing that's really interesting to think about. So Kirito meets Asuna in a group trying to prepare to defeat this first boss, right?
Right.
However, you and I talked about this. What if he never actually met her?
Yeah.
So you could say maybe he ends up eventually meeting her anyway because he's really strong and he helps. So like let's say the beater scene definitely still happens, right?
Yeah.
Where he's kind of cast out by society. If he never met her, I would say he doesn't have any sort of redemptive force in his life because he still gets involved with the Black Cats, the
also,
guild
though,
from episode
like,
3.
If you think about it, he doesn't really interact with her until they meet up
Right.
when she's already established in the Blood Knights. Or whatever they're called. I don't remember what they're called.
He really needed to meet her, I think, to take the next step. And it's definitely like through meeting her that Kayaba finds him.
Yeah.
And I would say if he doesn't find him, he doesn't let them out of the game. So,
Well, we can talk about episode 14, but,
yeah, but
it's kind of it's whatever.
And what it got me thinking of is, are there other people in SAO who are like Kirito? Let's say, kind of have all of the skills but didn't have any sort of like something to push them. I think that would be something interesting to see, kind of the fail son Kirito, who's like just as good as Kirito but doesn't like push himself to like do positive things. I think that'd be interesting. The other interesting thing is, I don't know if we talked about it, but it's something that I noticed actually was in Shield Hero. I didn't
even see the first episode.
I only watched a couple episodes of Shield Hero. Shield Hero's funny because it was really bad, right? And then
I still want to watch it.
It had a chance to be really good, I felt. So what happens is the main character is, kind of your typical isekai protagonist, except he's like he's one of 4 people who wield like 4 legendary weapons, except his is a shield, and so everybody like shits on him because it's a shield. But he like learns how to do it. He learns how to be like good with it. But the entire time that he's there, everyone is shitting on him, including like they partner each of the 4 guys off with somebody else, and his partner robs him and says that he raped her.
Oh shit.
And she's the king's daughter, and so yeah, basically she just robs him and becomes the partner of somebody else. And he, like, buys a slave to be his partner, but doesn't treat her as a slave. At least I don't remember him treating her as a slave. and she's like an animal person.
Okay.
And these animal people are kind of like just discriminated against in the society.
As is the usual.
Yes, of course. But then like some stuff happens, and eventually the shield hero and I think the spear hero have a duel. The spear hero is the guy who has the false rape accuser as his partner now. Yeah. And the shield hero's winning, but then the woman who said the shield hero raped him, I think casts a spell while she's invisible on the shield hero to cheat, and he like rightfully so gets pissed off, and like this kind of like crazy, I want to say like tornado surrounds him, and they say something like evil mode unlocked, like not exactly that, but it's
what?
Like yeah, it's like I'm like wow, I was going to say, dude, if he turns into a villain here,
that would be
I'd love that, right?
That would
like
be
if he's
sick,
like, you know what?
Fuck it.
Like the whole this is maybe like 4 or 5 episodes in. Everything in this show has been him just like outperforming everyone's expectations of him and still getting shit on.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to see it. Guy talks about this with Naruto, where after Naruto saves the village from pain, Guy says he should have said fuck y'all, right?
Yeah.
I would have loved to see him say, I'm going to become your greatest nightmare. I'm going to spend my whole life destroying your fucking civilization. That would be great. But then they have a redemptive moment where the raccoon girl is like, I believe in your heart. I believe that you're a good person. And he stops. Oh. And I said, fuck this show, man. It's funny because Kirito almost has that moment in this episode. When he's called out as a beater, he's like, you know, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Right? Wouldn't it have been sick if Kirito kind of just lived outside of the law and like just like could you imagine this? The Blood Omen group or what? The Blood
Knights or
whatever it is. Yeah.
The main group, Blood Knights, I think.
They're gearing up to deal with a dungeon, and he's like they get inside of the dungeon room, and he's like, I'm going to stop you guys from clearing this room. And he just goes nuts on them. That'd be crazy. I want to see.
Okay.
I want to see SAO where Kirito goes like sicko mode. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's episode 2. Episode 2, I would say, also is one of the top 5.
Yeah, I think so. I think episodes 1 through 3.
It's funny,
are like the story, right?
The first 3 episodes are really good, and then things start to get worse. What happens in episode 4?
Okay, I think it's like episodes 1 through 3 feel like a story, right? Mm-hmm. Because episode 3 is it's the red-nosed reindeer, right? Kirito gets his guild, the Moonlit Black Cats. Mm-hmm. They get killed. They're on the 27th floor. They get killed. I wrote here in my notes, why is he so stupid? They should all recognize an obvious trap, especially him. Have they never played a game before? It is a very obvious trap. I don't understand why they even bothered to take the risk. They were getting a house, and they had all the money and supplies that they needed. They just wanted extra. They were greedy, and frankly, they deserved to die. He shouldn't even gotten that voicemail from Sachi at the end. Fuck it. He should have gotten nothing. I hate Kirito. I'm pissed. Also, the guild leader killed himself after they all died. That, I feel like he didn't deserve that for sure. He should have killed Kirito. Threw him off the edge.
Yeah, episode 3, don't really want to talk about a lot. I like the scene item. where he like throws the revive item at Klein and is like, use this on the first person you see. I felt like that was a really good scene. Even now, I think it holds up.
Yeah, yeah. And he walks away. He's clearly like so fucking depressed.
Yeah, I might as well get these takes off before we get further on. Now's as good a time as any. It's just an episode where like it reminds me when SAO first finished. I want to say SAO 2, right at the Gun Gale arc.
Yeah. Gun Gale had some moments.
I remember talking. We're not going to talk about Gun Gale.
We're not going to talk about it today.
I remember talking with Guy and saying, wouldn't it just be awesome if SAO did like 5 or 6 seasons where they're just inside of the initial season? Like just kind of expand the scope of what the first season, I guess the first half of the first season does, right?
Yeah. Take
those 12 episodes and stretch them out to like 100.
Mm-hmm.
I would like that a lot. Because in a lot of ways, I think that's one of the big problems with SAO. We're about to get to it, but so many episodes feel like filler, because they wanted to get kind of the cutesy harem shit off.
Yeah, but they're all canon. And all of them are canon.
Well, them being canon is insubstantial. What's important, I think, is that it makes up such a high percentage of this series, right? If you extend it out to 100 episodes, you can get all of that harem shit in, and it still wouldn't be above, like, I'd say the 10 to 20% threshold that you want for harem shit in a shonen or isekai anime.
Yeah. And it's not even that, though. It's like, it's that the filler doesn't progress the story at all. Its really only purpose is to introduce characters to the harem.
Agreed. And it's not like the setting isn't great, right? It's not like you're going to much better settings. First off, the next half of this season is literally just a worse version of this setting.
Yeah.
And then the next season is basically like just, it could almost be another show.
Yeah.
So yeah, they definitely left so much on the table, I think, with this first season, which I mean we've been talking about, but we're gonna keep talking about it. The choices to introduce all these harem characters, I think, were really not good for this show.
Yeah, really honestly, good for if you take the harem out, if you take out the harem, if you take out, like, you leave the characters in, if you just take out the harem aspect, like, just be like, hey, this is a friend, this is Silica, she's chilling, she got her dragon. That's good. It's not a dragon, I don't know what it is. It's a little bird thing. But that leads us to episode 4, the introduction of Silica, the Black Swordsman. I think the only this is kind of the beginning of the quote unquote filler. And it's like, it's just to introduce Silica as a character. Yeah. It doesn't put her in any other, like, it doesn't progress her story in a way that at all interacts with Kirito.
I mean, it creates
even
story,
later.
It doesn't really. All it does is introduce a character.
Yeah.
Which,
and it's a fetch quest. That was a fetch quest too for a flower to revive Pika.
The thing is that all of these character introductions, they're
self-contained stories too.
Yeah, they're self-contained stories. They're not really progressing any sort of plot. All they're doing is characterizing Kirito and introducing new characters. And you can do that in a more plot-efficient manner, right? Especially, like I said, considering you have this awesome setting, right? You should be putting as much screen time as possible, devoting as much screen time as possible into expanding that setting, right? Making us really interested in Aincrad.
Yeah.
And they don't. They're just like, hey, what if we just had a really generic episode? Hey, what if we did it again?
I think, like, I wrote this for episode 4. You know, the infamous scene on the bridge where he's out healing the damage, right?
The Dr. Mundo scene,
from
as
the
I
people.
call it.
Yeah, pretty much. I wrote, Pog when first watched, now it's just bad.
I actually had the opposite kind of take. I think that it was actually really good characterization because it first starts off with all these guys charging him, and one guy's like, wait, is that the Black Swordsman? He's in the lead group. And it's like, damn, I want to see lead group shit. I don't want to see this corny ass shit.
Yeah.
Right? Show me him with the fucking goons that are actually saving people in this video game. And
we don't see him with the lead group for a long time.
Honestly, one of the sickest scenes in the show when that woman is like, you can't hurt me.
Oh, but he turns on the fucking heat and he zips over to her. Okay,
and he's like, I'm a solo player. I don't care if I have an orange icon for a little bit. I was like, show me sicko mode Kirito.
Yeah.
Right? He does kill that one guy later by punching him through his chest, which I forgot about. I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah. And honestly, you know, it's corny now, but at the time when I first saw Kirito tanking all of that, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Then we get into episode 5 and 6.
Yeah,
I want to count them as one episode.
Garbage.
They are, I think, by far
wasted 40 minutes.
The most filler, non-filler episodes. And I'm just going to call them filler because they're pretty much filler. They do nothing to further the plot.
All they do is to further the plot.
All they do in the end of episode 6 is introduce the laughing coffin. Well, that's it.
But I would also say the other thing that they do is they kind of increase Asuna and Kirito's bond. But like I said earlier, you can do that in a much more plot efficient manner, right?
Yeah. It's so,
it's not
like,
an
watching
excuse.
them back. I'm like, this is so fucking boring. I don't care about the durability of items and how it looks like a teleport. I don't give a shit. Give me frontline stuff.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Like, it's so bad. So just fuck episode 5 and 6. Scrap them, right? Sure, Laughing Coffin, they exist. Great. Whatever, they're bad guild. Okay. Episode 7, we get The Temperature of the Heart. Now, based on the title of the episode...
Is that the cooking episode?
It is not the cooking episode just yet. This is the Lisbeth intro, the blacksmith. Another harem episode. It's fetch quest for rare metal.
Yep.
She does forge Kirito's iconic sword,
which he like gets rid of.
No, he does keep that one. It's the black one with the guard thing going on.
Yeah.
There is a scene that both you and I liked when they're falling from the sky.
That was a good scene.
That is a good scene. That's good. I think that's the only redeeming part of that episode.
The sense of motion was cool. The kind of the idea of the scene itself, falling through the sky with someone, is cool. Mm-hmm. The animation or the voice acting was very animated. I liked it.
Yeah, it's good. I think it's definitely the best part of the episode. Yeah. Other than that, you can scrap it.
And that alone gets it in the top 5.
Yeah, it might, honestly, because then we got the next.
You really got the fucking murderers row after this.
Yeah, we do. Well, okay, there's okay. So we've got episode 8, right? The Sword Dance of Black and White. Now, that tells me it's going to be a Kirito and Asuna-centric episode. Kind of. It's actually... So, it starts off with Kirito trying to sell some meat to Egyo, who is now a merchant. And then Asuna comes in and she's like, nah, come back to my place. I'll cook it. And then he's like, okay. So, they go back and they have some meat. And then the dude that is like... chaperoning Asuna because she's so important. Kuradil.
Oh,
what creepy ass dude.
I had a great line for him. I forget. He looked like Heathcliff, but he had like the life sucked out of him. Like he put a vacuum on him and just sucked his life out.
Yeah, he's vacuum bag version. But he challenges Kirito to a duel to see who can protect Asuna, which is like, come on.
Yeah, no.
Obviously, Kirito beats him. He's all pissed. You can kind of get the sense something later is going to happen with him because he's such a obvious bad character. And then Kirito and Asuna find the boss room and then run away. Mm-hmm. That's it for episode 8. It's kind of like again really nothing episode. All that really is done for the plot is to find the boss room for episode 9 and I guess kind of preview that Kuradil's gonna be a bad guy later or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got no other thoughts on episode
I'm just
8.
going to skip ahead to the Kuradil, because I think it's the next fucking episode.
Which one?
Oh, no, it's 2 episodes.
No, the Kuradil is episode 10.
Guess what?
That's just episode 10.
Guess what? He tries to kill Kirito.
I
just want to say this. The show is able to create some distance between, despite the fact that it spends a lot of time stressing out that if you die in the game, you do die in real life. The show is able to create some distance between what they show on screen and actual murder. But when you really think about it, these people who are murdering people in the game, we see this in episode 10 and in episode 6 or whatever. Yeah, episode 6.
And then 6. Like later when they do the left coffin ambushed us once.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, let's just come out and say it, right? Kuradil wanted to kill Kirito because he wanted to have sex with Asuna, right?
Yeah.
You can't even do that.
Yeah,
You're killing somebody because... Not in the game.
Yeah, you can.
What?
Yeah.
That's canon?
Yeah. Okay, there's a whole thing about that, but essentially there's a menu that comes up when you're trying to get...
in.
There's a menu that comes up when you're trying to get freaky, and it's like, do you consent?
What,
and you have to
button?
hit yes. No, you have to hit yes on the consent, which is like, okay, great. Teach
respect. Thank you, Kayama.
Right? No, okay. But I think that's canon. But then there's also the infamous chapter 16.5 that Reki Kawahara himself wrote.
I just want to real quick say, it's fucked up, man. Like he didn't even kill him because of that. He killed him, or he tried to kill him because he was jealous that this girl that Kirito hasn't even kissed yet.
I think that it was also because he's a fucking psycho because he was in the laughing coffin.
But still,
he just wanted to murder him.
You know what? I don't think he was actually in laughing coffin. I think they realized
he was in laughing coffin.
I know, but I think they realized we have to make it so that he's actually an evil guy. we can't have a lot of ambiguity here. It actually turns out that he's undercover. He's not just crazy. Mm-hmm. He's like, he's evil crazy. There's no moral commentary here. I just think it's nuts. It's like the other guy kills his real life wife because he had a crush on a girl in the game. That's nuts. Mm-hmm. It really was like, I don't know. It was something else. That was all.
Okay, rewind though. Episode 9, the blue-eyed demon. That's the Gleam Eyes fight. That's good. I think that's a good episode. Definitely top 5. Might be top 3 for me.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, Kirito busts out the dual wielding. It's like you can't not be cool. Like, oh shit, when he does that. Also, Heathcliff is introduced. I think for the first time, episode 9.
No.
Yeah,
actually,
I'm pretty sure.
Pushing up my glasses. He sees Kirito fight Kuradil in their duel, and they have like a little spark come from his eye or something like that.
Okay, yeah, but episode 9. So after they defeat Gleam Eyes and bust out the dual wielding skill, Heathcliff challenges Kirito to a duel. So if he wins, Asuna can leave the guild, but if he loses, Kirito has to join the guild, which is
a good deal.
Is a really good deal for him, honestly.
That's a good bet.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, he's actually Kaiba Akihiko, the guy who created the game. But if he was a real person, respect
that'd be a great
to him.
Bet. That's a good strategic decision. You're gonna get one of the best fighters in the game.
Yeah, you're risking Scottie Pippen to land Michael Jordan. That's pretty good. And now you got Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan.
And then we get to what we were just talking about, episode 10, Crimson Killing Intent. Kirito obviously loses his duel to Heathcliff. Then he's part of the guild, and he's sent out with Kuradil and this other dude into like a canyon for something. I don't even remember what.
It was like then training. Kuradil, it was so stupid because they start off.
It was contrived. It was
they really start off even with Asuna saying like, "What are you gonna train him on? He's stronger than you are." And he's like, he's got to go anyway. Like, talk about plot convenience.
Anyway, Kuradil's like, here's some water that's definitely normal water. And then, obviously, both of them get paralyzed.
This is poison.
And honestly, fucked up part of the game, there's no timer on the like, you have no idea how long it's going to be. Is it based on the amount of water you consumed? I don't think so. It doesn't look like it. I don't know. Fucked up. Kuradil kills the other dude who is probably inconsequential. I don't remember his name.
Yep.
Then he's like stabbing into Kirito. He's like, you're gonna die, motherfucker. He's about to kill him. And then Asuna is like coming through, and she zips up the valley, which is cool bit of animation. I like the whole bit where she's going through, and then she fucking jabs him, right? And she stabs him. He flies off, and then like he's like back up, and then Kirito blocks his sword with his hand, and his hand gets cut off, and then he got like a status effect, which is like disabled, and I was like, that's kind of cool. Like, I like that little feature, right? I don't know how he got a hand back. I guess it's like you just heal or something. They don't really go into that.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. And then Kirito obviously fucking jabs him in the chest with his hand, and he kills him. First person, well, actually not the first person I think that Kirito's killed. Maybe.
Yeah, unknown. I don't know. Gang.
Something about Laughing Coffin. Yeah.
No.
But there's a bit later where they go back and they may have been like ambushed by Laughing Coffin and they had to kill some people. Something like that. I don't know. I think Kirito killed like 4 people.
Here's another thing. Redo SAO, but Kirito dies there. What happened?
Oh, there. Oh. I think if that happens, Asuna kills Kuradil.
Yeah.
She goes back. She's fucked up. Maybe she kills herself. I don't know. People are.
I don't think she'd kill herself.
This shit's.
What if?
You sure? You sure?
What if she becomes Asuna,
Kirito might kill himself. Oh.
What if she becomes sicko mode Kirito? Huh?
Okay. All right. Maybe she finds out that Kaiba is
Who cares?
Heathcliff is Kaiba, and she fucks him up.
They definitely don't get out of the game. I kind of wanted
to see. I want to see that they get to the 100th floor, and then Heathcliff reveals himself, and everyone's like, fuck.
Whoa, no way.
Whoops.
I didn't expect any surprise to happen here on the last floor of the game. The last barrier.
I don't know. That would have been cool. And then Kirito and Asuna kiss for the first time and promise to marry. Yep. Which is, I don't know, a little sudden. That's fine. They're in a game. Whatever. They're gonna share their
Yeah,
inventory.
I actually don't have a problem with that. If someone literally saved my life,
yeah,
and I already kind of like them, yeah, there's nothing really stopping me.
Yeah.
Definitely would do that.
And then we get to the last kind of filler arc, which does, I still will say, it does push the plot along, especially later, but it's the Yui stuff. So, episode 11, Girl of the Morning Dew, Kirito and Asuna now have left the guild temporarily and bought a house, I think, on the 22nd floor. So it's nice, honestly. I like the scenic area, like the whole vibe of that place is nice. I think I might stay there if I'm trapped in SAO. But they see this girl in the woods and they're like, "What's going on?" They bring her back and she's I think she starts calling them mom and dad, which is like, okay, that's sure, right?
Yeah, that was.
I guess
That's when I turned it off. Honestly,
they're maybe like 4 or 5 years older than you, but okay.
That was where I turned it off.
Yeah, and then
that's just so unbelievable, dude. Like, as a normal person, even if you're like, I'm willing to kind of indulge myself in a delusion that, my new girlfriend and I are actually like parents. What is, to their understanding, an actual human being already in the game who thinks you're their parent? You have to say no. That's such, like, if that was a real person who had amnesia and thought that Kirito and Asuna were her parents and they went along with that, that's an actually fucked up thing to do. Like, I was like actually very turned off by, like I said, I turned it off there because it's like, that's not okay. and you're led as an audience member to believe, oh, that's so cute. We love to see it.
That's how they put it. Yeah. Then we get episode 12, which is Yui's heart. They're on the first floor at this point with Yui, trying to figure out what the fuck's going on, right? So there's like a dungeon on the first floor that opened up, and they go in with Yui. Anyway, they're ambushed by that. Remember that, like, the Grim Reaper? Yui steps in and she's like, bah, and she just deletes it essentially. And then they discover that she's an AI in the game. And then, like, she's getting deleted or something, but Kirito uses his elite hacker skills to save her because there's a Game Master console right there. Which, like, if you've got a Game Master console and you only have a limited amount of time, are you saving Yui or are you trying to, like, I don't know, log everyone out of the game with the console? You've got an in-game Game Master console, and your first thing is like, I'll save this little girl that we met a day ago, or let me try to, like, get everybody out of here. He doesn't even try. Nothing. Like, he's like kicked off, right? After he saves Yui from deletion. But he's like, I don't know. It's just dumb, bottom line. But it's not as bad as the other filler episodes, so I'll give it a pass.
Again, I think a lot has been said about Yui's character being stupid in terms of, like, ruining the plot. And I'm not really gonna weigh in on that. I completely agree. Yeah. There's no reason for me to, like, retread that. But even not considering her a Deus Ex Machina character, she just completely ruins the future of the show. It turns from an isekai about a boy who's trapped in a video game trying to save everyone to an isekai about two characters who are now married and have a AI child, right? It becomes a totally different show when she's introduced in, again, what I would say is a bad way.
Then episode 13, then episode 14, obviously the finale. Episode 13, it's the fishing thing, right? And then at the end, they go back because they're summoned back by Heathcliff, and they find that the boss is on the 75th floor. The boss is the Skull Reaper. I think it has, like, if I remember correctly, it had like 8 health bars or some shit. Anyway, it looks terrifying. And then we got episode 14, the finale, the end of the world.
That I vaguely remember.
They defeat the Skull Reaper, and then so, like, that's the end of the episode 13, which is Edge of Hell's Abyss. They defeat the Skull Reaper, and then episode 14, the end of the first arc. They're all kind of sitting around in the room, and I think Heathcliff is just kind of standing there, and Kirito's looking at him, and he's kind of like, you know what? I think his health bar has never fallen into orange, so I'm gonna attack him because I have a suspicion that he is Kayaba Akihiko. He exposes him. He's like, it's you, and then he paralyzes everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he challenges Kirito to a duel, and they fight, and then Kayaba beats his ass, and Asuna jumps out and protects him. She dies. He's like, well, now I've got nothing left. So he like walks into Kayaba's sword, and then as he's like fading away, he like glitches the system with his enormous powers, and he stabs Kayaba from like beyond the grave. And then Kayaba's like, nice, this is what I wanted, exactly this. And then they're like above Aincrad, and they're talking to Kayaba. He's like, hey, I did all this, what you think? And they're like, that's kind of fucked up. And he's like, yeah, but I did find what I wanted or something. And then Aincrad's falling apart. And then Kirito wakes up in the hospital, and he stumbles out of his room, and he goes off to find Asuna. And then we find out what happens in Story Arc 2, Episode 15.
Spoiler alert, it's bad.
It's bad. What are your thoughts on the finale?
I remember when I watched it, I thought it was really cool when Kirito wakes up and he takes his helmet off and his hair is like so long.
Oh, yeah. That was good.
And you see that he's in a hospital. I was like, wow, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I didn't like it because it just felt like it was way too soon to pull them out of the game, right? Like, there was, first off, they weren't even on floor 100, if I remember correctly.
They were on floor 75 before it ended.
So, even if you don't realize how much content was left on the table in previous stuff, you literally had 25 more levels of your game that you could have explored. So that sucked.
They do that too. When they recreate Aincrad later, right after after Alfheim, they recreate Aincrad and they go explore and they go to the 100th floor, I think. Or no, they're like actively trying to beat it or something. That's true. They can't die in real life, so there's no stake.
Yeah, if the show was just they're stuck in the game and they can't log out, then it would suck. The show would be so bad, right? The show needs the tension. It realizes that its plot isn't good enough. You know, death needs to be on the table here. Besides that, I don't know. I don't really remember much about the finale. I remember the fight wasn't that cool. It was like against like a bone scorpion.
Yeah, that was the Skull Reaper, the final boss.
Yeah, Resident Sleeper. Wasn't cool. What did you think?
I thought it was, so for the longest time, I have championed Sword Art Online. I have been its probably biggest apologist, right?
Yep.
I think truly rewatching it with a more critical mindset has just decimated my rose-colored glasses, obviously, but it has just decimated my opinion of it. I think if we want to make this the hot takes, I think Sword Art Online can be boiled down into the good parts of Sword Art Online, at least, you know, the subjective good parts, what I think is good, can really be boiled down into like maybe 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Like, other than that, I could give a shit, really. It's tough. It's hard looking back on something that you really enjoyed. I rated this an 8, right?
That's
on
kind of nuts,
MAL. Yeah, that's I rated that an 8. And at the time, I was even like, maybe it deserves higher.
Maybe that's too low.
Yeah, maybe that's too low. At this point, I'm not going to change it, but I think at this point, I would rate it, having rewatched it, I would rate it, at least the first 14 episodes, it's like a 5.
I have it as a 6.
It's like,
and
there's not.
I kind of stand by that. I think it's better than average.
6?
Yeah, it's better than your average show, especially for like. It's hard because like for me, rewatching it, yeah, it's about a 5 or really more a 4. But I know that SAO has such great appeal for a lot of people who haven't watched a lot of anime.
Yeah.
So that definitely makes it good, right?
Yeah.
Or like that's definitely something I should account for. Yeah, I've Log Horizon, another video game show that came out around the same time. I have that as a 5, and I agree with that. That is, yeah, Log Horizon. I see Hamatora. I also have as a 5. These are like definitionally average anime.
My only 5 that I've recently put is One Punch Man Season 2.
My most recent 5 is Tokyo Ghoul Season 1.
Really?
Yeah, I would say that's another definitionally average anime. Really similar to SAO, I would say Tokyo Ghoul is, where the first episode or two are actually like really cool. The setting is like really cool. And then it's like it doesn't really go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then there's like some crazy final fight. Not crazy in terms of like well animated, but like in terms of like impact of the story.
Yeah.
After which you're thinking like, well, really, you kind of have optimism because you're like, well, things could actually turn really good after this, right? Maybe they'll turn a new leaf and it'll be a great show. Yeah, no. My hot take, honestly, this could actually be a YouTube video, and it might actually be a crazy YouTube video. SAO is an inferior version of the American television show Lost. And I will not expand on that. No, I will expand. So, really quickly, if you haven't seen Lost, you should. Really great show. It's on Hulu. For those of you that have seen Lost, really think about it, right? We have a cast of characters. Unfortunately, SAO is an ensemble cast, similar to Lost, that are stuck in a bad situation apart from the real world, where they have to kind of perform some task to get out, and there's some overpowered evil force that is keeping them there. What I think would have made SAO better if they wanted to keep... I've spent pretty much this entire podcast, I think, talking about what I think would have made SAO better. But if they wanted to keep things really similar to what they did, first off, I think you do need to... There's no way around it. You need to have more episodes devoted to this kind of subsection of the story. But if you don't want to make them Kirito doing cool things, do what Lost did. Have flashbacks to the real world for the characters, right? And it's such a basic thing. It's not even something that, they started doing after SAO. They've been doing it in anime forever, right? Have it so that what is happening to the characters in the game is made significant by what's happened to them outside of the game. Lost is truly the king of doing that. And just like Lost, after they got out of the game, the show got worse.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I don't think I'll do a YouTube video, but I could. There's so much stuff going on. I'm a big Lost guy. I really want everybody to watch Lost. If you haven't and you're on the fence at all, I really urge you, try it out. The first season is really long, so are the second and third. But I would say if you're not hooked by like episode 12, maybe you can give it up, but they're really good, man. The first couple episodes are a little weak, though, because they're kind of just introducing the cast. Anyway, do you have any other hot takes?
I do not have any other hot takes.
No other hot takes?
I'm out of hot takes.
What are we talking about next time?
Next time, we are talking about Weathering with You, which recently had its digital release. It's been out in the US since January, and it's been out in Japan since like July of last year. Digital release just came out, I think, and the 4K release is in September. But we're going to talk about Weathering with You and the other works by director Makoto Shinkai, because I think they are very worth talking about. He has some very impactful movies that he's made. Some of them are better than others. Some of them are similar, but we will get to that next time.
Yeah. Real quick plug. Also, since we last recorded the episode, I mentioned Ruby. I've not started watching Ruby. In fact, I've done the opposite. H-Bomber Guy has a really nice video on Ruby and kind of its history. I think if you're somebody who's listening to the podcast and finds yourself constantly disagreeing with us on like why we don't like the shows that we don't like, I think that's a great little thing to watch. H-Bomb kind of gives a real crash course on literary analysis, basically. Like when I say something's not productive, like it's not a productive use of screen time, he has such a great like explanation of what that really means. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend his other videos too. They're awesome. But yeah, it's a quick plug.
All right. I think that about wraps it up. If you guys want to follow us on Twitter, we are @_no spoilers.
Yeah.
I don't post anything yet other than the episodes, but I'm sure something will come of that eventually. We do have a YouTube channel. No spoilers.
I can't wait till
on
we
YouTube.
get somebody tweeting us.
I know.
That'd be great.
We would love to have anyone on the podcast.
And
if you are Miles Garrett,
if you're famous, yeah. Miles Garrett, we want to get that on the air early.
Miles Garrett, if you're listening to this, I'm going to tweet this at you.
Don't tweet it.
Come on the podcast.
He will definitely not come on the podcast if you tweet at him.
I think that's about it. You can find us on Anchor, Spotify, any of your major podcast listening
where to
places.
find us.
You know where to find us. That's everything. See you next time.
See ya.